60s and the Lakers and the Spurs and Michael Jordan's Bulls. But the NFL's been a dynasty sport, too. The Pittsburgh Steelers in the 70s dominated the sport. They had challengers like the Raiders and Don Shula and the Dolphins, but it was the Steelers, then it was into Joe Montana, Bill Walsh and the Niners, and then it was Troy Aikman, Jimmy Johnson and the Cowboys, and then it was the Patriots for a long, 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 long time. The NFL's a dynasty sport, too. You get the right coach and the right quarterback, right general manager, boom, you're off to the races. And I think a lot of people right now look at Kansas City and Baltimore and think, oh, boy, oh, boy. I'll make a case for Kansas City, and here's why. I'm having ribs tonight, opening the NFL season. Wife told me we're having ribs. You never want to leave meat on the bone, right? And there's an old saying in sports. You don't want to leave a lot of meat on the bone. You want to give everything you have, play as hard as you can, empty the playbook, and don't look back. You lose, you win, but don't leave any meat in the bone. It's remarkable. I want you to think about this for a second. And I'm just going to take the great quarterbacks in the league, not the average ones. And there's a lot more average than great. There are questions about all of the great quarterbacks. Carson Wentz, can he stay healthy? Aaron Rodgers, can he get along with Matt LaFleur? Tom Brady, can he win without Belichick? Deshaun Watson, can he win big games, not just have great highlights? Jimmy Garoppolo, can he gain the trust of Kyle Shanahan, who took the ball out of his hands in the playoffs? Lamar Jackson, can he win from behind? Trailing, has to throw. But Nick Wright brought up an interesting point about Patrick Mahomes. There's no question, and there's also no pressure on him.
The fact that Mahomes knows he's a fully minted made man forever, and Lamar knows the exact opposite, which is no matter how brilliant I am, if Colin Cowherd's right and we go 16-0, no one is going to care. It's going to come down to 12 passes if I make or don't make in the playoffs this year. Mahomes can play with none of that pressure.
It's a big deal. The ability to play freely and without pressure and not worry about surrounding critics. Mahomes and Russell Wilson are really it. But Seattle is not Kansas City right now. I like Deshaun Watson. We'll watch him tonight. But he had a 24-0 lead on Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs and lost by 20. Are we looking at the next decade, the next dynasty in the NFL? And this is where I think we may be. Because I think I've seen Baltimore mostly at their best. And they shrink a little. Kansas City, I want you to think for a second how much meat they left on the bone. They couldn't figure out their defense until late in the season. They were outplayed in the Super Bowl for 3 quarters. Patrick Mahomes was 11th in completion percentage, 7th in passer rating, and in his last 6 games, with Andy Reid, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, threw 8 touchdown passes. They trailed 24-0 at home in a playoff game. Mahomes was outplayed by Jimmy Garoppolo for most of the Super Bowl. They trailed Tennessee in a playoff game. And they won the Super Bowl with a kid at quarterback. Kansas City left a lot of meat on the bone. We haven't seen Kansas City's high end yet. You really think Patrick Mahomes is going to finish 11th in completion percentage? You really think they're going to trail in the playoffs at home 24-0 again? You think Mahomes, who just admitted, I just figured out how to learn and read defenses, is not going to get better? I kind of feel like Baltimore's really good, and I do think Baltimore is a more complete roster this year, especially on defense in the back end, despite the loss of Earl Thomas. But what is scary for the rest of the NFL, we look at that Kansas City parade and we think, oh, it was just linear. They just rolled and Mahomes got hurt. Mahomes struggled at times. The defense was kind of a wreck for the first 10 weeks. They trailed huge at home in the playoffs. They were outplayed in the Super Bowl. And they won. That's what's scary. When Brady won his first Super Bowl and he was a kid and they didn't even rely on him, And then he won his second Super Bowl, and you're like, oh, now Brady, not just Belichick, not just the defense. Oh, now Brady's great. That's what's scary for the rest of the league. Kansas City hit on about 7 out of 10 last year and won this thing. Frightening. Can't wait for tonight, Chiefs and the Texans. So you are who you hang out with. And the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard are getting in very interesting company. I'm not into awards. I'm not into points. I'm into winning. Kawhi Leonard is going to win the NBA championship this year, and he's going to be the MVP on the third different team. Did it with the Spurs, did it with the Raptors. He's going to do it with the Clippers. They beat Denver last night. Denver looks shot now. They look tired. He won on a layover at the airport in Toronto. He won a title. But it's very interesting because you are who you hang out with, and I keep asking this question for the critics of Kawhi Leonard. He doesn't have an MVP, hadn't scored a lot of points. His career average is... Let's look at some of the clubs Kawhi Leonard currently hangs out in. We'll call it the elite club. Finals MVP and with multiple teams. Only 3 people have ever done it. LeBron, Kareem, and Kawhi. Let's call this one the super elite club. We had a name to it. Michael, Akeem, and Kawhi. Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. Let's go one more. Let's get silly. Let's go VIP Elite GOAT Club. You've been a Finals MVP, an All-Star Game MVP, and Defensive Player of the Year. Michael and Kawhi. And now he's going to win his third championship and be the MVP with each. Oh, there's nobody in that club. Ever. I'll say it again. He's the anti-Harden, the anti-Westbrook. When the light is brighter, folks, he's MJ. He's at his very best. He's better in the playoffs than the regular season. So was Michael. Last night's another example. Okay, this is not Tuesday night against Memphis. This is the game you break the Denver Nuggets spirit. Oh, good God. He was so much better than everybody on the floor. Paul George didn't even play well last night. Kawhi's like, I got it. That's what Michael did. I got it. That's what LeBron does. That's what Magic did. I got it. You are who you hang out with. He's the anti-Harden and Westbrook. If the NBA players were all lined up and we were at a YMCA and you could pick teams, you'd pick LeBron and Kawhi. You would not pick Giannis. You would not pick Westbrook. You would not pick Harden. You would not pick Jimmy Butler. You would pick Kawhi and LeBron. And they're about ready to meet in a few days. I know he's boring. I know he's nonverbal. I know he wears New Balance shoes. I get it. But my top 5 of all time in a month when Kawhi wins it. Magic at point, Kareem at center, Michael's my 2 guard, and LeBron and Kawhi are my forwards. You can have Larry Bird. Kawhi is a significantly better defender. You can have Tim Duncan. I can marginalize him. I've already got Kareem. You keep telling me stats and MVPs. All I know is I watch these games. And there's only 2 players in my life that remind me of Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant offensively and a little bit of defense, and Kawhi defensively and a little bit of offense. I know he just shoots a mid-range jumper. I know he's boring. I know he doesn't talk. I get it. But you can no longer deny this stuff. Last night's a great example. Paul George doesn't show up. This is what Michael did. I got it. I'll break the spirit of the Denver Nuggets. You are who you hang out with. You start naming all these clubs he's in now. He's in with Kobe, LeBron, Michael, Kareem. The worst one's Akeem. Sorry, but I'm all in on him. I'm all in on fun guy. I just know if there was a YMCA, 2 guys in this league, it'd be LeBron and Kawhi. And these general managers keep telling me they want centers. I want a guy who gets better in the bigger moments. There's only 2 in the league right now, LeBron and Kawhi. He's on my all-time starting 5 in a month. You can no longer deny it. Well, he doesn't have an MVP. Karl Malone does. Who cares? Russell Westbrook does. Who cares? At the Y, who you picking? Malone, Westbrook, or Kawhi? Who you picking at the Y? You're picking Kawhi. That rhymes. Didn't even mean to. All right, coming up next, I don't get it. Like I got to talk Dallas Cowboys here.